Friends, gather around as we delve into the wild world of international trade where things are about to get a whole lot more complicated. It seems our friend, the tariff man himself, is back at it. That's right, President Trump has slapped a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports. Ouch! This of course has made some folks unhappy. Canada, a major trading partner, is feeling the heat. The UK steel industry, which sends a chunk of its product to the US, is also staring down the barrel of a devastating blow. This isn't exactly new territory for Trump. Remember those tariffs from his first term? 25% on steel, 10% on aluminum? Those were fun times. Canada, Mexico, and the EU all got a taste of that. Eventually things cooled down with Canada and Mexico, but the EU tariffs? Those stuck around until 2021. And you know who ended up footing the bill for all that? Yep, US consumers through higher prices on everything from cars to beer. But wait, there's more. Trump's also got plans for some good old-fashioned reciprocal tariffs. Basically, if a country taxes US imports, he's gonna tax theirs right back. Fair trade, he calls it. Though he hasn't exactly specified who's in the crosshairs. So what's the reaction to all this tariffing about? Well, Ontario Premier Doug Ford isn't thrilled, calling out the shifting goalposts and the risk to the economy. Catherine Loubier, a Canadian advisor, points out the economic ties between the US and Canada, highlighting the potential for job losses on both sides of the border. The EU, meanwhile, is not backing down. They haven't received official word yet but see no justification for these tariffs and are promising to protect their interests. Australia is hoping for an exemption, much like they got during Trump's first rodeo. Over in South Korea, steel and car maker shares took a tumble after the announcement, and in the world of finance, gold prices shot up to record highs, perhaps reflecting some investor jitters. The thing about tariffs is, they're like that first shot in a snowball fight. Sure, you might get a little snow on your opponent, but before you know it, you've got a full-blown snowball war on your hands. And nobody wins those, except maybe the guy selling mittens. It's not just about steel and aluminum, folks. This is about a global trade system that's already feeling the strain. Add in a pandemic, supply chain disruptions, and a healthy dose of geopolitical tension, and you've got a recipe for, well, let's just say it ain't pretty. And then there's China. Ah yes, the big kahuna of trade disputes. The China-US trade war has been simmering for a while now, with both sides lobbing tariffs back and forth like rhetorical grenades. Trump slapped a 10% levy on Chinese goods entering the US. China retaliated with tariffs on a whole bunch of US stuff, from coal and oil to agricultural machinery and cars. They even put controls on 25 rare earth metal exports, which are kinda important for things like electronics and, oh yeah, military equipment. See, China's not thrilled about US policies that restrict their access to semiconductors and AI technology. They're playing hardball, folks, and they seem to think they can ride this out, figuring that the US needs their cheap goods more than they need to sell them. Of course, China says nobody wins in a trade war, but they're not exactly backing down either. Both sides seem to be dug in, and it's hard to see a clear path out of this mess. So where do we go from here? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The global economy is interconnected. What happens in one part of the world ripples out to the rest. Tariffs might seem like a quick fix, but they often lead to unintended consequences like higher prices, job losses, and economic uncertainty. What we need now is not a trade war, but cooperation. We need to find ways to work together, to address trade imbalances, and to create a system that is fair and benefits everyone. Otherwise, we risk sleepwalking into a future of economic chaos, and nobody wants that. Well, maybe except for the doomsday preppers, but they're a story for another time.